Most people walk through life thinking they're reacting to the world, that what happens around them determines how far they go, how much they get, or what they become. But if you really start paying attention, I mean deep, honest attention, you'll see that the opposite is true. The world isn't shaping you, you're shaping the world, and you're doing it silently, constantly, through one thing, your belief about what you deserve. It's not something you say out loud. It's not even something you may be fully aware of. It's buried in your choices, in your hesitation, in the moments you settle, the times you don't speak up, the opportunities you let pass by, because something in you whispers, maybe that's not for me. That whisper, that's your internal ceiling, and no matter how loud your dreams are, you'll never rise above the ceiling you've built with your own beliefs. The truth is, we all live in the world we believe we deserve. Two people can walk into the same room, meet the same crowd, get the same chances, and one will rise, and the other will fade into the background. Not because of talent, not because of luck, but because of belief. Deep-rooted, non-negotiable belief. You can study the most successful people and you'll see a pattern. Before the world ever applauded them, they had already decided who they were. Before they were chosen, they had chosen themselves. Before they were seen, they saw their own worth. It's not arrogance, it's not entitlement, it's clarity, and clarity gives power. But here's the thing, the belief we carry is often inherited from our past, our upbringing, the things we were told, and the moments that broke us. Somewhere along the way, someone might have made you feel like you weren't enough, like you had to earn love, like your voice was too much or not enough, and without even realizing it, you started living by those rules. You started building a reality that made sense to those beliefs, not because they were true, but because they were familiar. And the danger of familiarity is this: we will fight to keep what feels normal, even if it hurts us. So we shrink in rooms we should expand in. We tolerate treatment we should walk away from. We lower our standards to keep peace with others, and in doing so, we wage war against ourselves. Now listen to me. You can be brilliant, you can be gifted, you can even be the hardest worker in the room, but if you don't believe you deserve more, you'll never get more. Because life responds to certainty, not effort alone. It doesn't mirror your grind, it mirrors your belief, and belief isn't loud, it's quiet. It's in the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's in the way you walk into a room. It's in the way you say no to what no longer serves you. It's in the energy you hold when something is out of alignment, and you don't chase it, you replace it. When you shift your belief, you shift your standard. And when you shift your standard, the world shifts how it treats you. It starts giving you what you truly expect, not what you wish for, not what you hope for, but what you believe you're worthy of. That shift is internal before it's ever external. And yes, it takes time. It takes breaking old habits, healing old stories, and rebuilding a new framework of self-respect. But once it clicks, there's no going back. You'll stop chasing people who aren't meant for you. You'll stop explaining yourself to those who don't understand your value. You'll stop watering relationships that leave you dry. You'll realize that peace is expensive, but nothing is more costly than a life built beneath your worth. So when the world isn't giving you what you want, don't rush to blame it. Pause, look inward, ask yourself, what part of me is still accepting this? What belief do I still carry that allows this level of treatment, this level of success, this level of love? And more importantly, am I ready to let that belief go? Because your breakthrough doesn't start on the outside. It starts with the moment you decide deeply, fully, that you deserve more, that you were always meant for more. And once that belief takes root, the world has no choice but to rise and meet it. The reflection changes the moment the mind does. If you want to understand your life, if you really want to understand what you've been attracting, not just in relationships, but in opportunities, environments, respect, look closely at what you've tolerated. That's the blueprint. You don't get what you want. You don't get what you dream about late at night. You get what you tolerate. That's the truth most people avoid because it demands accountability. It means we're not just victims of chance or circumstance, we're co-creators of the very life we claim to be dissatisfied with. What you allow is what will continue. If someone crosses a line and you say nothing, you just redrew the line. If you stay silent when you should speak, you've taught the world your voice doesn't matter, even if deep down you know it does. Every time you let something slide that hurt you, disrespected you, or minimized you, you're not being the bigger person. You're becoming smaller in your own story. And that's not humility, that's self-betrayal. There's a quiet power in boundaries. I'm not talking about walls. I'm not talking about shutting people out. I'm talking about standing so firmly in your worth that the world either meets you there or walks away. And you have to be okay with either outcome, because anything that requires you to shrink, to bend so far backward you break, is not love, is not loyalty, is not alignment. It's a test. And whether or not you pass that test depends on what you choose to tolerate. Think about it. Every moment you say, it's fine, when it's not. Every time you convince yourself, this is just how things are, even though something in your gut screams that it's wrong. Every time you ignore your own standards to avoid discomfort or keep someone else happy. That's a lesson, not for them, for you. And you're teaching the same one over and over, whether you know it or not, that your peace is negotiable, your value conditional, your time expendable. But what if you stopped teaching that? What if instead you taught the world that your presence is earned, not owed, that your energy is sacred, not scattered, that you will walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't align with the truth of who you are? What if you made discomfort your ally instead of your enemy? Because yes, it's uncomfortable to stand up for yourself. It's awkward to have hard conversations. It's lonely to leave places where you were once accepted, even if they were draining you. But all of that discomfort is temporary. Tolerating what drains you, that's permanent unless you choose differently. You see, your life is not defined by the loud moments. It's not the big speeches or the dramatic exits. It's the small decisions every day that stack on top of each other and create the reality you wake up in. You say yes when you should say no, one brick laid. You let someone interrupt your peace, another brick. You pretend something doesn't bother you, another brick. And suddenly you've built a house made of everything you never wanted, wondering how you got there. But it wasn't fate, it was tolerance. The most powerful people in the world, I don't mean rich, I don't mean famous, I mean powerful in spirit, powerful in peace, powerful in presence. They didn't get there by letting everything slide. They got there by deciding they were no longer available for anything that didn't nourish their growth. And they made that decision every single day in 1,000 little ways. You teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself when no one's watching. By the standards you enforce when it's inconvenient. By the silence you break when your soul says enough. This isn't about being aggressive. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. Clear about your value. Clear about your limits. Clear about the kind of energy you invite and the kind you reject. And here's the secret. When you raise your standards, you don't lose people. You lose the ones who were only there because of what you were willing to tolerate. And that's not a loss, that's a reveal. What stays after that is real. It's aligned. It's worthy of your time, because the world reflects not what you say you want, but what you silently allow. You won't find your worth in someone else's words. You won't find it in applause, in compliments, or in likes and shares. You won't even find it in the approval you chase from those you silently hope will finally see you. Because self-worth is not given, it's not handed to you, wrapped up in validation. It's claimed, and it's claimed in silence, in solitude, and in the quiet choices you make when no one's watching. See, there's a myth we've all been sold that one day the world will recognize us and suddenly we'll feel whole. That one day someone will speak the magic sentence, offer the opportunity, open the door, and that'll be the moment we finally know our value. But it doesn't work like that. That moment doesn't come until you've already decided who you are, until you've already acted like you belong at the table, until you've walked like your footsteps matter, even if no one's clapping yet. Worth is not a feeling you wait for, it's a truth you embody, and the only way to do that is to act in alignment with it, especially when it's hard, especially when you're tired, especially when doubt is louder than belief. That's where it's forged, not in easy victories, but in the choice to keep showing up, not because someone told you you're worthy, but because you already decided you are. There's something powerful about someone who no longer begs for permission to take up space. Someone who doesn't need a stage or spotlight to move like they matter. They don't chase, they don't argue, they don't perform. They just walk with clarity, with presence, with purpose, and the world either adjusts to that or falls away. When you truly understand your worth, you stop needing to explain it. You stop needing to prove it. You stop negotiating with people who don't see it. You don't have time to convince the world when your energy is spent building something greater. You don't need to shout over the noise when your actions speak loud enough in silence. Look at your life, your habits, your boundaries, your decisions. Are they built on the belief that you matter, or are they a reaction to fear, to rejection, to the need to be accepted? Because if you've been molding yourself to fit in, you haven't been standing in your worth, you've been outsourcing it. And anything you outsource can be taken away. There's no ceremony, no drumroll, no announcement when you begin to honor your value. It's quieter than that. It's in waking up early when no one's watching. It's in walking away from something that doesn't feel right, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. It's in choosing your standards over your comfort. It's in staying consistent when no one claps. It's in how you treat yourself when the world forgets to applaud. Self-worth doesn't show up in the spotlight. It's carved in the dark. It's created in the moments when you decide, this version of me, the one who doesn't beg, who doesn't chase, who doesn't shrink, this version is enough. And the moment you choose that version is the moment your world begins to mirror it back. That's when the rooms start to shift. That's when the right people show up. That's when the right energy finds you. Not because they complete you, but because you've stopped entertaining what depletes you. You stopped waiting to be chosen, and you chose yourself, fully, without apology. And it's not ego, it's not arrogance, it's ownership of your time, of your energy, of your direction. Because when you truly believe you're worthy, you don't need to chase, you attract. You don't need to fight to be heard, your presence speaks before your mouth does. You don't need to win over anyone because you've already won over the only person who matters in this journey, yourself. And once you claim that worth, not just in theory, but in every step you take, everything begins to change, not because the world gave you more, but because you stopped settling for less. Before the world can give you what you deserve, you have to decide what that is, and you don't decide it out loud first. You decide it in the quiet space of your own mind. That's where every shift begins. That's where your life starts to take shape. You can't expect the world to offer you more than you're willing to declare internally. And that declaration isn't a sentence you say once. It's a belief you build day by day, until it becomes your truth. The most powerful declarations you will ever make are the ones you make to yourself, not on social media, not in some fiery outburst of ambition, but in the stillness where no one else is listening. When you look in the mirror and decide, this is who I am now, this is what I will no longer accept, this is where I'm going, and nothing will move me from that path. That's not noise, that's not for show, that's alignment, and it's from that place of alignment that the world begins to respond differently to you, because everything outside of you, your job, your relationships, your opportunities, they all take their cues from what you've already decided within. If you believe you're only worth scraps, you'll settle for crumbs. If you believe that your time and energy don't matter, you'll keep giving them away to people and situations that drain you. But the moment you declare, silently and consistently, that you are worthy of more and start acting in accordance with that, everything around you begins to shift. And yes, it feels awkward at first. It feels foreign because for so long we've been taught to wait for someone else to validate us, wait for a sign, wait for the perfect moment to start believing in ourselves. But that moment never just shows up. You have to create it. You have to own it. There's nothing more revolutionary than a person who finally stops begging life to treat them better and starts showing life what their standard is. They stop explaining. They stop asking for approval. They start living as if what they want already belongs to them. That's not pretending. That's faith in motion. That's self-respect made real. And let's be honest, most people never get there. Most people keep playing small because it feels safe, because standing tall means being seen, and being seen means being judged. So they hide, they dim their light, they silence their desires, but deep down they know the truth, that no one is going to come and crown them worthy. That moment has to be chosen, not granted. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve, and belief isn't a thought. It's a pattern. It's a way of walking, a way of speaking, a way of choosing. It's in the way you say no to what doesn't align, even when it's tempting. It's in how you carry yourself, even when the room doubts you. It's in the discipline to act as if, even when nothing has shown up yet. That's what declaring your worth internally looks like, not some big performance, but a quiet, grounded confidence that doesn't waver just because the outside hasn't caught up yet. It's knowing that you're planting seeds, and those seeds don't need to bloom today to be real. You see, once you declare something inwardly truly, without hesitation, you don't chase it anymore. You align with it. You become the kind of person who naturally attracts it. You speak with more clarity. You make cleaner decisions. You waste less energy explaining yourself to people who never deserved access in the first place. That's power, that's freedom, and that's how everything starts to transform. Not by pushing harder, not by begging for scraps, but by drawing a line in the sand internally and saying, from this point on, this is who I am, this is what I tolerate, this is the level I operate at, and then living like it's already true. Because in the end, the world doesn't just reflect your actions, it reflects the internal declaration you make every single day, the one no one hears but you. And when that declaration is clear, unwavering, and rooted in truth, the world has no choice but to rise to meet it. It's easy to look around and feel like the world is out to get you, like every setback, every betrayal, every closed door is some kind of punishment. It's easy to play the victim when life doesn't go the way you expected. But the truth is, the world isn't against you. The world is reflecting you. It's holding up a mirror to what you believe, to how you carry yourself, to what you've decided you're worthy of. not what you say you're worthy of, what you live like you're worthy of. There's a massive difference. A person can say, I deserve love, but tolerate manipulation and emotional neglect. A person can say, I deserve success, but shrink away every time an opportunity to lead shows up. And so the world, being the mirror it is, reflects back not the words, but the energy, the posture, the standard. When you start realizing this, things get uncomfortable, because it means taking full responsibility. It means owning the fact that your environment is, in many ways, a reflection of what's happening internally. It doesn't mean you caused every painful thing that's ever happened to you. Life can be brutal. People can be cruel. But what it does mean is that your patterns, your beliefs, your reactions, your expectations all play a part in what keeps repeating. You attract what you're in harmony with. You repeat what you haven't healed. That's why the same types of people keep showing up in your life. That's why certain situations seem to chase you from one chapter to the next. It's not coincidence, it's reflection. And until you change the image within, the mirror outside stays the same. So, no, the world is not against you, but it is trying to show you something. And when you stop fighting it, when you stop resenting what it's reflecting, you can finally start using that reflection to grow. You can stop saying, why does this keep happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me about me? That's the shift. That's where you go from feeling powerless to powerful, because now you're not waiting for the world to change, you're changing, and the world follows. You're not trying to manipulate the outer to fix the inner. You're aligning the inner so the outer has no choice but to respond differently. And here's the thing, once you shift internally, things that used to shake you just don't anymore. That toxic person that used to drain you, they don't even show up anymore, or if they do, you're not accessible to them. That chaos you used to feel comfortable in, it feels foreign now. You stop needing to fix broken situations because you stop believing that broken is what you deserve. You begin to realize that peace, clarity, and purpose were never somewhere out there. They were always waiting to be unlocked from within. You were never lacking anything. You were simply out of alignment with what was already yours. And alignment doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty, brutal honesty, the courage to ask yourself, what in me is still choosing what hurts me? What in me is still clinging to a version of life that no longer fits? These are hard questions. But they are the kind that move mountains, because the day you stop blaming the mirror and start changing the image that it reflects is the day everything changes. You step into your power, you take the wheel, you stop reacting, and you start creating. That's when life starts working with you, not against you, not because it changed, but because you did. And the world, being what it is, simply mirrored that new energy back to you. The elevation came from within, and everything else had no choice but to rise with it. So when things feel heavy, when you're tempted to curse the sky or resent the system, pause. Ask yourself, what am I projecting into this world right now? What am I expecting, believing, accepting as truth? Because the moment you shift that internal world, the external will begin to echo that shift. And that's the real power, knowing that the world is not against you. It's just showing you who you are willing to become. If you want to be treated like a king, stop thinking like a servant. That doesn't mean walk into the world with entitlement or arrogance, no. It means you must begin to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about who you are, what you're worth, and what kind of life you're allowed to build. A servant mindset is not about humility. True humility is powerful. A servant mindset is when you shrink yourself, when you expect little, when you operate from fear and scarcity, believing that your role is always to serve others' dreams at the expense of your own. It's when you apologize for taking up space. It's when you wait for permission to rise. There are people walking around with king-level gifts trapped in servant-level thinking, and it's not their fault, at least not at first. Most of us were conditioned from a young age to keep our heads down, follow the rules, not ask for too much. Be grateful for what you get. Don't be too ambitious. Don't ruffle feathers. And so we internalize that we're not meant to lead, we're not meant to shine, we're meant to support, blend in, survive. But here's the truth: you cannot step into greatness while still begging the world to validate your existence. You cannot lead if you're still looking for someone to approve of your power. Kings don't beg. They decide, they declare. They move like the throne is already theirs, and because of that, the world rises to meet them with the respect and reverence they've already chosen internally. It's not about being above anyone. It's about finally believing that you are no less than anyone. And more than that, it's about realizing that the limits around you are often nothing more than mirrors of the limits inside you. A man who believes he is powerless will act powerless. And the world will treat him accordingly, not because he is less, but because he told the world that he was. What happens when you change the narrative, when you stop asking, "Am I allowed to lead?" and start saying, "I was born to"? Everything shifts. Your body language shifts, your tone, your energy, your vision, it all expands, and without saying a word, people feel it, they respond to it. You start attracting different conversations, different opportunities, because your very presence speaks on your behalf. And yes, it starts in silence. Kings don't need to convince anyone. They move in stillness with certainty. You don't prove your worth through performance. You prove it through presence, through the quiet way you hold yourself, through the discipline you keep when no one's watching, through the boundaries you set without explanation. The servant mindset says, "Let me work myself to the bone to earn love." The king mindset says, "Let me embody love and attract what's aligned." The servant chases validation, approval, attention. The king attracts not through manipulation, but through alignment. He knows that the highest quality of life doesn't come from begging, it comes from becoming. And understand this: the crown isn't handed to you. You claim it, you train for it, you suffer for it, you discipline yourself for it, you sacrifice for it, and you stop settling for relationships, environments, and habits that keep you small. That's what separates a man who watches others rise from the man who rises himself. Your throne isn't somewhere out there, waiting to be offered to you. It's already within you. It's just been buried under years of playing small. Years of pleasing, years of apologizing for wanting more. But those days are over. The world needs your strength now, your clarity, your leadership, and it begins the moment you stop thinking like a servant and start remembering that you were born to reign. Not over others, but over yourself, over your mind, your reactions, your path. And once you master that inner kingdom, the outer world cannot help but reflect it back. Because you no longer move to prove you are worthy, you move because you know you are. So, if you want to be treated like a king, the shift doesn't begin with the world, it begins with you. The moment you stop waiting to be chosen and choose yourself, everything changes.